Head of counseling. You got it? Is that what she was looking for?
No.
But if a lady counselor was called, the issue of the car would not have been discussed at all. There were human issues, relational issues that were more critical, and the girl has already forgotten about the car. Even what took her back home is already forgotten. So where do we meet? Usually you realize when there's a dispute between a man and a woman, the man works like this. Tell me, just tell me. 1, 2, 3, where did I go wrong? Just list, let me know. What is the issue? Wacha kuongea sana, tell me. Then at the same time, the woman wants to explain herself more and more. If you say, for example, the first problem, you talk too much. Okay, if I talk too much, let's talk over it. Because the only way for a woman to finish it is to talk it more and more. And the problem identified was talking too much. She tells you, let's talk over it. Let's talk over it. The idea is this. The men in the hall, we must seek to listen to the feelings. And they are not listening with the 5 senses. We must develop our 6th sense to be able to converge with our girls. The women in the hall, however, I want to encourage you to try to be more specific as you can. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. But you can train to identify an item. How, you may ask? Don't pull the issues that happened last year and last year, but 2. Deal with the issues piecemeal. They are harderable than pulling the elephant into the room. Difference number 5. Knowledge of partner. It is estimated that after 10 years of marriage, the average woman knows the husband 95%, and the average man knows the woman just about 5%. And a story is told of such a man who never understood her wife. And he kept on thinking, I'll never understand this woman, and so he decided to go to a psychiatrist with a woman and said, Mr. Doctor, sir, I just don't understand my woman. Please, I don't understand her. He listened to him, and he was as brief as 2 minutes. And the doctor left his desk, went to where the couple was, and decided to kiss the woman. The man didn't care. He kissed her, and then he went to the man. That's all she needs. That's all she needs. It was a Friday evening, 10 o'clock in the morning. He said, oh, that's what she needs. Every Friday, 10 a.m., I'll be bringing her to you. You know, I read of a quote. This is not original with me. That if you're looking for happiness, love a man a little, but understand him a lot. Understand him so much. Just love him a little. But if you want happiness with a woman, love her a lot, but don't try to understand her at all. A young boy went to the father and said, Dad, is it true I have heard that Indians never get to know their wives until they get married? The father replied, no, it's everywhere on this planet. Men never get to understand their wives before or after marriage. And a lot is said, and it is true. A woman will study the man within, even before they get married. She will have understood almost anything about him because men don't keep cards below the table. Even when he's cheating that he is single, when he's looking for mpagwakado, the lady will be knowing. Within 1 or 2 dates, she'll be knowing just about anything. Now, the tragedy comes because ladies expect us to understand them and to feel them. And the average man can't decode and can't even appreciate what she's going through. Is that familiar? Men, is that familiar? She's still expecting you to understand, to figure out what she's going through. And believe me, the average woman thinks you're pretending because you can see it. I challenge the girls, just tell him, this fellow is not understanding. You know, one time I was reading about men and women. I do a lot of reading on this. And there was a place where they were selling brains. There was female brains and male brains. And the male brain was costing $500. The female brain was costing $200. A woman who was there was very upset. Perhaps she was a feminist. How come you're selling male brains $500 and female brains $200? And the owner of the store said, you know what? The female brains are totally used up. The male brains are yet to be used up. By the time these pharaohs died, they had not even used 10%. And it's true, because when we sleep, But a woman is, they never sleep properly. They are still thinking a million things. You know, right now as I talk to you, every man is listening to the points. Every man is listening to the points I'm sharing right now. Trust me, their mind, body, and spirit is in my speech. At the meantime, some of the girls are thinking, how is Kinyanjui and Mercy? How do they relate? They're thinking about the relational aspect, which I can understand as a man. But their head is all over. They're thinking about their man. Some of them listening to me are thinking about a man who had them one day. That's what is going on in your head. But believe me, this fellow is thinking nothing else. He's just thinking about the points I'm giving. And he will not remember the stories. He will remember the points. I'm giving stories because of the ladies. And I'm giving points because of the men. Because at the end of this talk, every man will want to know what was the bottom line. Why did I come here? Why did I bother? Spend 2K, come here to listen to this guy. What was he saying that is new, that is different? Meanwhile, the ladies are very excited with real life stories, real life experiences. How did it continue? How did they end? That's what goes on in the mind of a woman. How did the story end? Is it a happy ending? All right, difference number 6. Difference number 6 is about memory. On average, women have a long-term memory and men have a short-term memory. And I say generally speaking, because some instances there could be some few differences. And I regret that I'll give you a very sad story, but we hope we will have helped you to walk out of it before we leave here. I read of a story of a man who went in and out of coma severally. And seems like it was on his last few minutes when he decided finally to call the wife. He used to be cold all through their marriage life of over 30 years. And she was very shocked that finally he has decided to call her and summon her on her deathbed. And this is what he had to say. You have always been there with me during my bad times. When I lost my job, you were there. When our house went on flames, you were there. When I fell sick, you were there. Even this time when I'm in the coma, in and out, you are still there by my side. I want to let you know you are bad luck to me. Terrible. Short-term memory. Strange how men forget where they started with their women. In most cases, I don't want you to check in real life, when you find a man who has reached the top in any career, in business, in any profession, chances are enormous that she was with a man when she got started. Very few men on their own reach the top. The few you meet at the top divorced somewhere because they forgot the contribution of the woman. And I have interviewed literally a number of people who are doing very well. And most of the stories I had, actually the woman was even earning more in the earlier years, in the early 20s, mid-20s, early 30s. But eventually maybe the guy went into business, into construction of roads. I have real life cases in this country. He ended up making billions because the woman is interested in whatever the man chooses to do, she supports. But how sad it is, in a short while, men forget where they began with this woman. So I challenge the men in this hall, please remember where you started the journey together. And those who are young in their marriage, perhaps like Faith, chances are very high she could be supporting him in every way. By the time it reaches 40, 50, because men are sprinters, they have moved very fast, and then men stop at some point. That's why we always encourage men to work as fast as you can. Don't worry. If you see a man overworking, don't stop him. Don't stop him. The fellow will stop at around 45 and refuse to work. They stop. At 50, they stop completely and sit at the couch. They are sprinters. They sprint and stop. They just stop. They refuse. Come a buyer. You know? They just refuse. But the woman holds on. She's a marathoner, and she can hold on for an entire lifetime. You'll meet a lady at her 80, still working. If you go to the rural country, like in Kenya, any single county, perhaps with the exception of the Muslim counties, you'd actually find men after a certain age are worse than the youth. They drink from morning to night. Meanwhile, the women are still working. So women, my encouragement for you is this. Don't wait for a long time to remind him. Remind him over and over again. Because if you think he's remembering, he will forget. Men, never tell a woman anything that you don't want her to remember. I want you to remember these words, that everything you tell a woman, she will record it for future training and quality control. So don't say what you don't want to be reminded. You know, you talk about love every morning, and she doesn't seem like she's listening until you make a mistake of saying something nasty. Then you'll know she was listening. For what? Future training and quality control. So yes, on average, men have short-term memories. So, Inspector, it's very possible tonight You go very excited at home and share with her stories and reach out to your wife. And then she remembers last Christmas. You never bought Christmas for her mother. And she becomes cold on you. They have long-term memories. And they can pull it anytime. It's normally kept near their heart bag for defense in the future. In the future. It's very, very near their heart. They never discard information. They don't discard. They have a save button. You know, for men, delete is delete. For women, delete is pause. It's a pause. It's a pause. There is no complete delete function. Even recycle bin is recycled. It's recycled. All right, difference number 6. Motivation. Men are motivated by what they see. Women are motivated by what they hear. I heard of a story of a boy who, he was in his teenage years, and there were 2 young girls who were fighting over him. And at some point, he decided to call the police, so he rang 911. And the police listened to his story, and they consoled him, but then they asked him one question. So what was the emergency? And the young man said, yes, it's very urgent. The ugly of the 2 is winning. It's winning. You see, for the boy, what is critical is to get the beautiful girl. Men are attracted by what they see. And that is why even the most holy amongst us will still augur when they see a beautiful girl. My message is this. We are not just attracted by beauty, but by confident women. Because we recognize that the girls on the magazines are airbrushed. They are not real. Even those who appear on the magazines do not exist in real life. They have already been airbrushed. However, it is important for any lady listening not to ever assume that the man is not looking for the physical. Yes, it is his responsibility to dress you up, clothe you up, take you to the salon. But suppose he forgets, you have a personal responsibility. You have a personal responsibility. However, I caution the men, please build up that girl to what you want to see, so that you avoid the temptation of looking elsewhere. You have a responsibility to make her the talk of the town, the estate, to make her the guy's augur. But I want to say this. If there is a man listening to my voice whose attention, whose eyes do not have a delay when they see a beautiful woman, he's either too young or too old or too sick. It's our nature to spot. What we do when we are walking our wives, we are very clever here. We pretend we don't see. It is safe. By the way, it is safe to pretend not to see. Because the questions you answer after that, you'd rather not see. You'd rather not see. But women are motivated by what they hear. Now, this is key for men to note, that if you stop speaking to her and another man starts speaking to her, she begins to warm up to him. So it is cheaper to speak to her than to hire an investigator. So I would rather you keep telling her over and over again. Don't listen, George. Don't ever tell your woman, you know, I told you. The priest was there. He was my witness. When I change my mind, I'll let you know. No. Tell her over and over again, because she believes what you say. Women believe what they hear. Men believe what they see. Don't be cheated. That's the truth. You know, I've had people trying to come and pick microphones and say, I studied her character. I liked her. Watch Azako. He first liked you, then started observing your character. It starts with the sight. Then, you know, and it's important for men to look for beautiful girls because you can work on character. All right, difference number? 7. 7, yeah. I think we're number 7. And I want to talk about movement. And I want to say this. The movement of a man are normally linear, and that of a woman, they're normally cyclic. It's interesting that I decided to call the theme tonight, why men are linear and women are cyclic, because a lot of battles begin on this point. Personally, what I see in my house, my wife prepares fast enough than the average lady I found. However, she will still go to the bedroom 3-4 times after we have decided to lock the house. I do not know what she's looking at. She will still go back. And seriously speaking, ladies will see things in a cyclic manner. And I'll give you an example. If I come to where you stay, chances are very high if you have a daughter. How many listening to me here have a child who is, say, 10 years and above? Anyone with a girl? Would you agree with me that room is very stuffed up with things? How many men here would confess like me that you do not understand 50% of the products your woman uses? You don't even know what they are called. Is that familiar? You don't even know how they are called. I want to encourage you, brothers, you're not alone. By the way, you're not alone. It's a global phenomenon. It's a global phenomenon. Most of us, we have no clue. And that begins, my daughter, who is 10 years and a half, her room has 1,000,001 things. I don't understand them. I read of a story of a man who was in a supermarket with a wife. They had agreed very simple that his job is to push the trolley. Her job was to do the shopping. And she was picking commodities. Unfortunately, because of the way ladies keep changing dresses, he could not trace her anymore. He was with the trolley, and the lady is lost in a huge supermarket. So he decided to approach a beautiful girl and said, could you talk to me for a while? Why? Why should I do that? You're a stranger. No, I'm in a crisis. So how do I help you? You don't need anything. I just need to stand by your side. And my wife will show suddenly. She will be seen immediately from wherever she is. If I talk to a beautiful girl, I don't know how she's no longer lost. But anyway, the reason women are cyclic, I think they were created to be shoppers. You know, we go to the supermarket. Usually, if I'm going somewhere, like to buy a newspaper, and I didn't get it by the roadside, I'll go there, pick the newspaper, and it is specific. I'm picking Nation. Done deal, I get out. So I used to take Mercy for shopping. When the kids became big, somebody complicated our lives, Ivy. Because it's also like Mercy checking which tissue paper, which toothpaste. It's very complicated. I mean, at my age right now, I know the toothpaste I use. So why do I keep smelling them every moment? So someone said, a man goes to the supermarket to buy what he wants. A woman goes to the supermarket to find out what she wants. And that's the difference. I read of a story, I don't know whether this is true. There was a supermarket for selling men. And it had about 6 floors. Floor 1 had some instructions. Here are some good men. And they can make good husbands. They commit. Floor 2, here guys can commit. And they're good looking. Warning, if you reach floor 6, there's no return. There's only an exit. Can you just pick a guy here? Oh, she decided to go for 3. Oh, they commit, they're good looking, and they will tell you, I love you. Floor 4, oh, they're good looking. They commit, they tell you they love you, and they will help with the homework of the children. Oh, floor 5, there's an extra activity. They'll even drop children to school and pick you up. And the woman thought, hey, let me go to floor 6. And then it was written, you are the 31 millionth woman to visit this floor. Such men do not exist in this country. The message is, ladies like going to and forth, to and forth. And that happens in a debate or in an argument, to and forth. 3 weeks ago, I posted an article, Why He May Divorce You. I recognize the sensitivity of this topic because of what we've gone through in our past. And obviously, you don't need to be told, a number of ladies didn't like it. But one particular lady, I wrote this in the article. I have 15 reasons why a man may divorce a woman. But in the interest of time, I'll just share 5. One of the ladies responded to me, I have 100 reasons why women can divorce you. And that's the idea. A woman will go to and forth, to and forth, to and forth, to and forth. Most men will want to complete an agenda and go to the next issue, the next agenda. Wow, let's go to number 8, orientation. Men and women are oriented differently. By nature, men are dividers, and by nature, women are multipliers. I read of a story of a boy who was speeding, and he was arrested by some cops. But he refused to stop. He was trying his luck. It was a Friday evening, and he knew if he's arrested, he would stay in the cells until Monday morning. So he refused to stop. Unfortunately, he had estimated the cop who was on duty that day. And he decided to drive and try to see whether he could catch up with the young man. And unfortunately or fortunately, he overtook the young man and blocked him and stopped him and told him you had arrest. And not only were you overspeeding, but you defied authority. I've been in this job for the last 32 years. I'm retiring. Tell me one thing I've never had. I've listened to every lie on the road. Tell me one thing I've never had, and I'll release you. The young man said, you know, last week, there is a cop who ran away with my wife, and I thought you're the one returning her back to me. Go home, go home. The cop said, your case dismissed. You are released. Wow. Men divide everything that comes their way. That's why a number of men, when they get a lot of money, they marry an extra woman. They know how to divide. When they go to a restaurant, they don't want to pick change. Women who pick the calculator, share the bill among us, the 4 people, The average man will just find out how many men or women are in this table and pay the bill and hope the other dude will have common sense and pay next time. But we'll not sit down to start finding out who is paying more than the other. We simply don't do that. Our ego does not allow us, Petra, to do that. Meanwhile, the girls sit down. We are 4. It's 2,000. Oh, 500 each. And there's no single, what is it called? Tip that can be left. It's too costly. Too costly.